Are we motivated?
Motivated.
Are we good to go?
Good to go, sir.
Mora! Hi! Mapas we!
Hello, this is Victor on the Vox Pop segment, and we are here in the University of Uyo to get the people's view on the future of Nigerian youth. Please stay tuned. Don't go away. Okay, Mr. Emmanuel, what do you think is the future of the Nigerian youth?
Well, personally, I feel the future of Nigerian youth are in their hands, because as a Nigerian youth, if you are hardworking, there's really nothing you can. It's not right to be totally dependent on the government as a Nigerian youth. You have to sit up and be hardworking. So basically, I feel your future depends on your hand.
I think since they have signed into law a bill called Not Too Young to Run, it should be an opportunity for the youth, for the elders to give the youth a chance, an opportunity for youth to go for like a position like president, a position like vice president, Senate, House of Assembly, Federal House. It should be that they should give them opportunity to represent.
The future of Nigeria youth, and the future of Nigeria youth, for the way I see it now, for the youth to stand up and be empowered to themselves, to stop waiting for government, because the way I see this country is going in the next 5 or 10 years now, job opportunity may not be enough. As it stands now, even job opportunity is not being enough. Thousands of graduates are leaving school yearly by yearly. But where do we find job to equip these people? None.
Please, can you let us know more about the way the federal government has made impacts on promotion on the life of our youth towards a better development and then empowerment of skills acquisition?
Okay, I can't really say for sure, because ever since I've been a child, I keep hearing the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, and up to date I keep hearing that too. But I came to realize that it's actually a fantasy, because youths are not given the chance to, grow and exhibit whatever talents or whatever thing they have actually. So I feel the government should help the youth towards giving us empowerment in different areas.
What do you think the government should do to get the future for us as youth?
It is a duty of the government to protect our property. They should improve their governance, because the way things are going on currently is not motivatable. The way things are going on is not encourageable for the youth, because we the youth, we have suffered enough, too much. So they should, whatsoever they are giving to the people, they should monitor that thing. Like the program that is going on, we have heard about several programs initiated by the president, but majority of the program does not come to the grassroots. So since it doesn't come to the grassroots, they should improve, set the monitoring team, whatsoever that the federal government is doing or the state governments are doing, they should keep people that will monitor it, so that the youth can become beneficiaries, because when it comes, it is only elders that benefit.
What do you think the government should do?
Yeah. What I advise the government should do to help the youth into the society is to empower the youth. For instance, okay, let us set up a skill that will like train each graduate before they come out from school system. Let there be an entrepreneur that will help others. Like for example, after your 4 years or 5 years in school, you have you came out and you can be able to to learn others. Like for example, trade. Going to a trade while you are in school, you learn a trade of 1 year when you are in school. When you come out now, you can use that if there is no job, you can use that one, okay, that idea that you learn in school to empower yourself before looking for a white collar job.
What do you think the government has done to procure a future, and our leaders has done to procure a future for us?
Okay, well, so far they've tried. I mean, I've heard of different schemes put up by the government to assist and empower youth, which is great. I must commend them. Also, there are other things lagging behind, like securing of jobs and employment opportunities, more employment opportunities for qualified youths. Cancellation of situations where non-qualified youth are being given jobs based on connections and who know who, which is wrong. So I feel the government so far, they are trying, especially in the empowerment section, also for the securement of jobs. I think that is something they should do in order to help the youth more. Yes.
Okay, you've heard the people's view on the future of Nigerian youths, and remember that the future lies in your hands. Have a great day.
Hello, you are welcome to the Insight segment of the Adjoya Half Hour. I'm Brendan Amadi. The topic of our discussion today is the future of Nigerian youths. With me here to talk on this topic are Christabel Chigozie and Mr. Clement Jimbo. Sir, please, in few words, make a field description of yourself.
Thank you very much, NTA. Thank you very much, Mr. Brendan. And thank you, viewers. My name is Clement Jimbo. In Nigerian, I wouldn't know if I'm still qualified to be called a youth, but I think I am youth at heart. I've been married for 12 years with 4 lovely kids and also a project manager. Thank you.
We all know that the youthful stage is a very important aspect of human development and in any society, both here in Nigeria and the other country otherwise. Sir, please, can you give a definition of who is a youth?
Okay, like I said, a youth is basically a time of life that spans from childhood to adulthood. And the United Nations classifies a youth as a young person between the ages of 15 to about 24 years. And if you come down to the African Charter, it classifies youth as a young person between the ages of 15 to 35 years old. Now, looking at the Nigerian context of the definition of who a youth is, if you reference the 2019 new policy on youth, it classifies youth as a young person between the ages of 18 to 29 years. So, looking at all these classifications, it clearly tells us that a youth is a young person. And if you place that side by side with the population of Nigeria of over 200 million human beings, you can see that Nigeria can boast of a huge population that are youth. So that is basically a youth.
Ms. Christabel, can you define yourself as a youth?
Yes. Yes, I can define myself as a youth because I'm physically and mentally sound. And I can say that in my own definition that a youth is someone that, I can say in my own definition that a youth is someone that is from the age of 15 to 50, because I see most people at that age as physically and mentally sound too. So as far as someone has that sound mind, the person can be qualified to be a youth.
Thank you both for this few description of who a youth is. Sir, what can you say about the role of youth in social development?
Thank you very much. The role of youth in social development, I sincerely doubt if there is enough time to really expatiate on the role of youth in social development. Is massive. Okay, let me try to box myself in a particular corner. Let us look at the leadership development and recruitment process in Nigeria, where a lot is expected from youth inclusion and youth involvement. And that can actually be made possible if the awareness is at the peak. Let me bring to bear the next national assignment of our great country, Nigeria, which is the general elections, where a lot is expected from the youth. Just like we define that the huge population of Nigeria basically comprises of youth. So youth has a lot to play in all the different sectors of human development, especially in Nigeria. I'll take us along memory lane. In the 1980s and 1990s, where majorly decision takers, administrators that manage and administer this country called Nigeria, we're basically youth. Somebody like the General Olusegun Obasanjo was the head of state in Nigeria at the age of 32. You see, the current president of Nigeria, General Muhammadu Buhari, was 43 years old when he first took a shot at leadership. You see, they understood the mental alertness that leadership requires, and they brought that to bear, and they basically managed Nigeria virtually well. Because I recall in 1985, a naira was equals to $1. And if you backdate it to 1975, if you needed a naira, you needed $1 rather, you just needed just about 75 kobo. But fast forward it to where it is today, you can all see for yourself. So what are we saying? In leadership deliverables, the energy of the youth cannot be neglected. If you look at the superpowers that we want to be like today in Nigeria or in the world, like the United States of America, if you look at who was the first president, democratically elected president of the United States, up to the 16th president of the United States, which was Abraham Lincoln, up to the 46th president of the United States, which was Barack Obama. This is a country that consistently used the energy of our youth to build their country. And in Nigeria, look at the private sector. The private sector in Nigeria is vertically managed and driven by youth. And this is the sector that virtually controls, let me say, 90% of the employment in Nigeria. So, but when you come to some key leadership positions, youth sometimes seems to throw their hands in fatalistic resignation and make it not their own business. But then, that is actually where a lot of government policies, formulation and implementations are made that have a great impact on the generality of Nigeria, which is the private sector. So youth have a great responsibility in building Nigeria. So, thank you.
In addition to that, I believe that the strength of the youth cannot be compared, like he said. And also, I believe that change is also constant, and youth come with that change. Because let's take an example to our school. When we're going to school, we see that scheme of work is being changed from time to time. And like I've graduated, most people down there still in school still have additional courses added, which I don't know. So I believe that That change is what the youth come with, and with change we can achieve societal development, maximum societal development.
Thank you very much for this point on the role of the youth on societal development. It's very, very clear that we cannot talk about the development of the human society or any nation without making reference to the contributions of the youth. So, sir, we know in our society today, the aspect of science and technology is also a very crucial sector.
Absolutely.
Okay, do you feel that in Nigeria, for instance, other nations, has growth in science and technology done more harm or yielded more positive results in the life of the youths?
Absolutely yes. Completely yes. If you put side by side the advantages of science and technology vis-a-vis its disadvantages, the advantages outweigh in a greater number than the disadvantages. For example, I recall back then in the days, the camera that is capturing what we are doing now, you could recall how it was as at then. So with the advent, introduction of science and technology, evolution of science and technology, things are being done in a very simpler, smarter, and faster way. Now, coming down to the youth, I think we should rather ask, have the youth in Nigeria really leveraged on the advancement in science and technology for the betterment of themselves and society? I will equally say yes, but the mark is on the average. Because Dr. Miles Monroe of blessed memory said something very important. He said, we are the generation of sight and sound. In other words, we live in a generation of sight and sound. So, in order for us to maximize our potentials, we must constantly leverage on these two fundamental principles of life, sight and sound. That is why if you had gone through a private nursery school and primary schools, when you are taught, said, this is a book, what the teacher basically does is to dangle a book for the child to see a book and also hears a book, and it sticks. But if you look at our public institutions, from the primary to the secondary, even up to the tertiary institution, I was shocked when I interacted with a graduate of computer science department that throughout all his life in the department, he only hears about computer. He only hears about keyboard, CPU, and the rest of the part without necessarily seeing how this thing look like in real life. And that is defeating the purpose of sight and sound.
No sign of practical.
No, there is no practical. So, and let me equally shock you. All right. I am from the science background. I studied chemistry, I studied physics in my secondary school days. You know, what my chemistry teacher, about the first 20 elements in the periodic table, and one of those elements is sodium. And each time he comes and said, sodium plus chlorine is equal to sodium chloride. And we were trying to figure out what is sodium chloride. How does it look like? But it was after I finished my secondary school that I discovered that sodium chloride is simply a table salt. Imagine if he had told us that sodium chloride is basically a table salt with all the different experiments he was busy writing, equation, balancing this. We would have maybe done some practicals in the house. For example, diluting a sodium chloride in water to see what it looks like. Maybe heating it on a stove to see what it looks like. So, without necessarily leveraging on the aspect of science, sight and sound, Nigeria will still be very far from development. For example, look at the power supply in Nigeria. That is actually where light comes in, because you must see and you must hear for it to speak. These are nature, and man was not created to walk against nature. Man was actually created to walk with nature. Any country that goes against nature is regarded as a third world country. And that is why Africa generally is regarded as a developing country. And we must change it. And the power to change it is in the youth. Youth have been born in a days and time where things are done differently. And we must leverage all the technology advancement that other countries have paid the price to develop and build from there. So Nigeria will not fail, and Nigeria cannot fail. Thank you.
So what he said, I just believe that science and technology, like he said, has its advantage and disadvantages. And we cannot say it because of, there's nothing that does not have a disadvantage. So we can actually say that science and technology is a very vital part in development and youth development. For example, I can actually pick up my phone because I want to read something that happened years back that my grandfather was not even born there. It won't even take me up to 2 minutes to get it. And nowadays, I'm seeing youth, and I like that we are politically aware now, and we could easily get to see what is going on and talk about the society and the nation easily, connect together through social media and whatsoever easily because of science and technology. So all of that, it is a very vital point that science and technology is very important.
Thanks so much for this contribution on the place of science and technology to the life of the youths, and then figuring out the do's and the don'ts, and then areas it has made positive impact. Okay, Ms. Christabel, can you help us in the aspects of religion, that we cannot talk about this full life without making a reference to ethics? What actually do you feel the church has played as a role towards fighting indiscipline in the life of a youth?
Thank you very much. I am a believer of choice, and I believe that no matter how much one tries, even if you try to impact in someone, if the person does not want to adhere to your instructions, the person won't. I've seen situations where people born of street Christian homes, in fact people that their parents are even pastors, they listen to the word of God morning, afternoon and night. Their parents make sure that they avoid bringing them close to anything that will take them to immorality. But at the end of the day, they are adults. One day they will still grow into adults, even if they are kids, and they will end up doing what they want. I believe that the church has done its part and will keep doing its part by trying to build the good morals and values in us, because I know that even if we are 100%, let me not be partial about my equation, 50 will still listen and 50 will do whatever they like. So I believe that this question cannot be strictly answered based on facts. It is choice. People have their different choice, and based on your choice and personal conviction, that is what will put someone into being disciplined or not. Thank you.
So in the society today, most especially our country, there seems to be high rise of sexual immorality amongst the youth in entertainment industries. What do you think is the role of parents toward this growing trend? Or how can parents help the society in moderating this ugly aspect of the society?
I'll disagree with you. there is no high immorality in our entertainment industry. You see, this is an industry that virtually started from scratch without no assistance, any substantial assistance from any government policies or subvention at all. These are raw youth, raw talent who navigated themselves from God knows where to where they are today. And if you look at the entertainment industry in Nigeria, and indeed Africa, Nigeria ranks the best anywhere in the world. So that we have a pocket of infractions here and there is not enough to completely blanket an entire industry that is generating a lot of employment, self-sustaining, driving the entertainment industry of Africa in a bad light. So that is not to say, of course, you know that every development comes with its own inconveniences. Just like the government wants to repair roads, some houses needs to go away in form of compensation. So that is inconveniences. Will you now say because the government is repairing road and somebody's house has been pulled down and it is a bad development? No. So entertainment industry has actually done so much. I'm looking forward to where government will actually own to their responsibility by assisting a lot of our talents to come to limelight. So entertainment industry is good. There is no immorality. If at all there is, it's negligible, and we can excuse that.
Please throw more light on youth and skills acquisition development.
I believe I'm a youth corper, and during our time in the orientation camp, we lectured on Said and entrepreneur course, teaching us, advising us to choose an entrepreneurial struggle. If you want to, something like bead making, tailoring, shoemaking, and all that, catering. I believe it's okay for us to be entrepreneurs, but at the same time, just like I said, just like we all have been saying, whatever have an advantage has its disadvantage. I believe it's creating an imbalance in our society, because nowadays everybody that graduates from school, you want to learn one skill or the other. We are not even thinking about what we studied anymore. This thing makes most of the people were not actually, this was not their choice. Like me, when I was doing my 200 level, from my 100 level, I know till now I've learned like 4 different skills. This is my personal hobby. But some people, it's not their hobby to do all these jobs, but because of the too much instigation on entrepreneurship, everybody's mind is directed to that. And I want to ask, if when I learned baking, it was not a thing of the day, but now I can evaluate the number of bakers we have now. I have outnumbered the people that are even buying the cakes that we're making. So I believe that if people if graduates are not instigated into entrepreneurship too much, it's not for everybody. Let the government actually make provision for jobs, that more white collar jobs. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I also thought about something when I was in camp, when they used to teach about Said a lot. I used to think, why are we even graduates in the first place? When, if I didn't have my certificate or statement of results, they wouldn't allow me to register in this camp. Then, why will I have to go to school when everybody must go be an entrepreneur? That question is something that I have been wanting to ask so much, that it's been bothering me, because I don't know the reason why we should go to school and still be supported to be an entrepreneur. It's not bad, but it's looking like an instigation, like it's looking like an advice that we cannot go against. Even a doctor, they're advising you to be a tailor. Okay, if our doctors today get old and then they need to retire, we are going to be having less of these practitioners, lawyers and all that. That's when we actually know that we've not done good to ourselves. So I believe that in as much as skill acquisition is good, but a balance should be created. Thank you.
All the same, I think you just made a very wonderful touch on the industry at work. Sir, you need to throw more light on this. Just few words from you, because I believe you have some experience on this topic.
Yeah. All right. Skill acquisition. What Nigerian youth needs, to my assessment, is not skill acquisition, is investment. Our government, institutions need to invest in our youth. I look at the NYSC scheme currently being practiced in Nigeria. In my own assessment, I sincerely believe that the purpose, the spirit and the tenet that created the scheme is outdated. In the 80s, in the 90s, what sustained Nigeria as a country was agriculture. I was taught in agriculture, elementary agricultural science, that the mainstay of Nigeria's economy was agriculture. But gradually we have navigated away from agriculture. I look at the teeming young graduates from different Nigerian universities, polytechnics, monotechnics, and the rest of them being gathered in a camp, then sent to different locations that they have never been. And they basically roam the street in the name of saving the country, where this youthful energy can be channeled into agriculture and agricultural value chain in order to create massive employment within the NYSC body and for Nigeria. So that is the investment I am talking about. This is not what the NYSC students themselves can do. It is what government can give a policy direction, put up the necessary framework, and allow the scheme to run. You look at Nigeria, for example. Nigeria is known by 6 geopolitical zones.
Of course.
Now, every zone in Nigeria has what is called comparative advantage in crop productions. You look at the north, they are very good in almost all the vegetables that we consume. You look at the south, we are very good in cassava processing. So why can't we leverage on this and make sure every season, every farming season, we capitalize on it and farm massively that can completely feed the entire nation through the strength and the energy of the youth corpus? Now, what for them to eat will not be a problem because they are cultivating, they are harvesting, and they are eating from there. So government can necessarily create environment, accommodations for them, feed them, put water and everything. So imagine every year, like 20,000 to 30,000 youth, young graduates, go into agriculture and farm for a whole year, and they graduate. Now, when you graduate, you decide to continue or not. You can now migrate to your different field of expertise. The next set comes in, and the same thing goes on and on and on. Nigeria will never lack what to eat, because a country that cannot feed herself and her citizen is not sufficient to be called a country. And a father who can't provide for his household is not worthy to be called a father. So government, I'm directing this to government officials because the NYSC themselves, they are inadequate, they are incapacitated. Somebody needs to put the policy framework and direction into place. So,
we've gone this far, we've heard a lot about this particular topic. You see, there are so many issues, controversy in ideas, and then it cannot end without hearing one or two words of advice, both to the youths and the audience there.
Thank you. I'll refer all the youths in Nigeria to the words of Albert Camus in his book titled The Rebel. He said it is better for you to die on your feet than to live on your knees. Many programs and policies of government is targeted at making a regular youth in Nigeria to live on his knees. Reject that. Stand on your feet and voice out what is truth, even if it means taking your life. It will not be in vain. Other countries have done it. South Africa did it. Ghana did it. Other countries have equally done it. So Nigeria will not be an exception. And Nigeria and this country will be built on the energy and strength of youth. Rise up to the occasion. Thank you.
I'll advise the youth of this country. I think it's time we awake into our responsibilities. I know we are very strong, I know that, but I believe that we should try to take more responsibility and look forward, because this is our future here. We are the people that will suffer anything, that any abnormality. So I believe that the youth should be more involved. We should try to be involved in politics. We should not try to shy away from politics and all that, because for there to be change, we need power in our hand. We don't need to be at the back line. We should try to be in front. We should try to come forward. We need power to make change. So we need a critical positions in government to make change. So I believe that is the best advice I have for my fellow youths. Thank you.
Thanks very much for this wonderful time. Thanks so much for your points and so much for the contributions and ideas you brought so far. In case you are joining us in this program, we just discussed the future of Nigerian youths. On my own words of advice, I want to borrow the words of ancient philosophers. An unpurposeful life is not worth living. To the youth out there, whatever thing you're doing, make evaluations. Where you are not making efforts, put more strength and strive high. Bye.
Let us lift our nation high, under the sun or in the rain, with education and selflessness. Nigerian heart, Nigeria we say.
Mora! Hi! Mapas win!